It's the internet. You're busy. Let's do this for October 17th, 2022. For the next hour or so, let me help you sort through the world of gaming on Game Mess Mornings Live with me, Jeff Grubb. Today, Silent Hill finally reemerges. Bayonetta 3 is getting a lot of negative attention, and I told my wife I couldn't do the dishes because of the Xbox Series S. But first, please join me in welcoming today's co-host to Game Mess Mornings. It's Mike Minotti. Mike, how are you doing today?
I'm good. I feel like you're a coward, though. I thought when I read that rundown originally, you said the Xbox Series S killed a developer's family.
I'm just putting all different jokes in all these different places, seeing which ones play. That one's for Twitter. This one is,
That's it. That's where I read that. Okay, I see.
Yes. So yes,
yeah,
exactly.
Rapid fire. I like it.
Rapid fire the jokes until something sticks, and if none of them stick, that's the Jeff Grubb way. How are you doing? How was your weekend?
Very sticky. I was good. I had a Halloween party on Saturday. Ooh. Then I slept most of Sunday. So I was feeling fine.
That's the way to do it.
It was.
Took the kids and the wife to Niagara Falls. We had a really good time. That was a lot of fun. It's a pretty time of year to go. Driving through New York. I don't know what upstate New York is. I almost said that, but I'm like, I could just say New York, and then that I know that's factually accurate. So driving through New York and seeing all the fall colors, but then like the fall colors were surrounding Niagara Falls too, and it was really pretty. And we went on the boat, and it was cold. And my 5-year-old did not want to be wearing a poncho to keep the water off of her, so she was kind of pouting the whole time. The boat started going, and she like hid in the corner, and she was making the right decision because the giant. All the mist was just hitting us, and it was cold, and so she was mostly protected. And then by the time the boat ride was done, of course, she didn't want to get off because she was enjoying it so much. But
yeah, imagine that.
It was a good time. And then we drove back on Sunday, and it was easy. It's only 3.5 hours away. That's a good trip, Mike. I enjoyed it.
Not bad at all. It's surprising how close that is. How close Canada is, actually.
Yeah, right. That's what we're like. Next time we'll get our passports and stuff so we can actually go to Canada and maybe even like go all the way up to Toronto or something like that. But we'll see. I really enjoyed that. It was a good time. We made some memories. We went to an aquarium there as well and saw some friends and got some narwhal toys. All right, let's get into this show. But before we do so, let's explain what we do here. Each weekday, I, Jeff Grubb, will help piece your gaming life back together. That includes breaking news and even some of our own original reporting. For all these topics, I'll get the input of a bona fide expert who will make me look smart. If you are watching live on Twitch, welcome. Hello, Twitch. You can always listen to the show later on podcast feeds by searching for Game Mess Mornings or find the RSS on giantbomb.com. You can also catch the show later with chapters and timestamps on YouTube. Hello, YouTube. Okay, we have a lot to get into, so let's start the morning mess with Silent Hill is finally returning in a reveal this week. This comes from Ollie Welsh at Polygon. After many rumors and leaks and over a decade without a major new game, Konami will reveal the future of the Silent Hill series on Wednesday this week at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. In your restless dreams, do you see that town? The company tweeted from the official Silent Hill account. The latest updates for the Silent Hill series will be revealed. The hashtag Silent Hill transmission on Wednesday, October 19th at 2 p.m. Pacific Time. It's here, Mike. It's happening. I kind of feel like this will be I was about to say a Silent Hill blowout, but the last time I just off the cuff said something was going to be a blowout, it was very bad for me. So, I think it's going to be a pretty big deal. I think they should have a lot based on what we've heard, rumors, and the things I've seen. And I think it's probably going to involve maybe a movie, TV show. Who knows if all that happens right here? But why else would they have been holding it off for so long unless they were really going to go all out? That's my reasoning. Is that folly, Mike, or should we just be predicting this is going to be super disappointing?
No. I mean, look, there's going to at least be one Silent Hill game, which is a lot more than Silent Hill fans have had in the last good while, right? So no matter what, it'd be good. But yes, I expect more than that. I mean, look, we've been hearing a lot of the rumors for a while now about there's going to be a new game. There's going to be a Silent Hill 2 remake. Again, not sure all of that is true. Seems likely, though.
Yeah, I think that we probably do get for sure that Bluebird team game that is the remake of Silent Hill 2. I can't remember the exact details of everything that's supposed to be happening. We probably will get like a mobile game, and then maybe they'll tease Silent Hill 5. That's supposed to be the big one that is going to follow up all this stuff. But it just seems like they're going to set the stage for a resurgent Silent Hill series, one that they can treat the way that Capcom treats Resident Evil. And then, yeah, I think they probably will also have a show or a movie. I mean, there's a lot of partners that have been teasing that sort of stuff for a while. I always heard that one of the first things they wanted to do here is get a TV series in place alongside a movie that was already happening. So, yeah, I just kind of, at this point, do you think they can recapture the magic for Silent Hill? Or do you think this can come anywhere close to what Resident Evil is doing for Capcom?
It's hard because like it took Capcom a good while to really get in this very good place that they are right now with Resident Evil and so many other things, right? There was kind of like that rougher period where we had things like a Resident Evil 6 and things like that. Here, Konami's coming in very cold, basically not making these kinds of games for a very long time. And can they just sort of come out and immediately go up against that and compete with it in a reasonable way? Partnering with Bloober Team makes sense in some ways because they have experience with the stuff. And Jeff, I'm not a big horror guy myself. People seem to have very strong opinions about Bloober Team and the stuff that they do. So it's like people, I feel bad. There's like a lot of Silent Hill fans who are, I think, like Jess, they've been wanting this, but they don't like Bloober Team. So there's that monkey paw, right?
Yep. And, you would hope that the Bloober Team's technical capabilities seem sufficient for what they're trying to accomplish here. And, hey, do for Silent Hill 2 what Resident Evil 2 did for Resident Evil. Yeah, I mean, they should be able to pull that off. The question just comes up, like, will they change something to be a little bit more Bloober Team? And in that case, that is a rough road to hoe because they don't handle the kinds of topics that Silent Hill treats with, not necessarily reverence, but has been very competent at handling previously. Psychological horror, that is specifically where people like Jess have an issue with Bloober Team. This team doesn't handle that stuff very well. So it's like, okay, that's where it can get risky. But you wonder if maybe Konami could hope, and this is like maybe putting in too much confidence on Konami. You would hope Konami would just say, hey, just remake the game. Don't make any decisions.
Don't editorialize.
Don't editorialize. You hope that they could say that, and then everybody sort of wins here. Let's just a really nice update of Silent Hill 2. But I guess the good news here, as far as us speculating, we're not going to have to wait too long before we actually find out what's happening with this. This is just 2 days away. We will do some sort of reaction to it here on Giant Bomb. My expectation here is that there will be some fun stuff, and there will be a lot of stuff for fans. Now that it's been announced, they'll be able to shift their concern from will it ever be announced to something new. There will be something new to worry about. Where they'll be like, hey, now we've seen that Bloober Team game, and we saw one thing in there, and I'm not so sure about it. Do you think that this game is, the Bloober Team game? Do you think this is coming out very soon, or do you think this is like a late next year sort of thing?
I mean, gosh. I mean, it's definitely next year, at least a Silent Hill 2 remake, which, again, at this point, I'm just putting my faith and trust in those rumors. So, I don't know. I don't know if it's a summer thing. I could see it still being a fall thing, really.
Yeah, and then, if they do have 4 games, including maybe a mobile game or something like that, they could put one of those smaller ones even before Silent Hill 2 remake. And then Silent Hill 5, I would expect, doesn't come until at least 2024.
Sure.
Yeah, that seems fair. But we'll see. We'll get all kinds of details on Wednesday, and we will catch you up all at that point, maybe on a Thursday, Game Mess mornings. All right. This one was kind of a wild one. Again, I was traveling, but I was still, this was what reaching me even as I wasn't checking my phone all that much because it just blew up. Bayonetta voice actress Helena Taylor details insulting offer to reprise her role in Bayonetta 3, which, of course, if you've been paying attention, she is not doing that. This comes from CJ Andressen at Destructoid. She's also specifically calling for a boycott of the game. CJ writes, because we live in an era where so many of the best things in life carry more baggage than a member of the royal family going on a weekend holiday, there are now calls for a boycott of Bayonetta 3 coming from the actor who gave Cereza her voice in the English-speaking world. As was recently reported, voice actor Jennifer Hale is taking the reins of the title character in this month's Big Switch release. In an interview with Game Informer, Yusuke Yamada, who is directing the series' third entry, said Hale was offered the role because various overlapping circumstances made it difficult for Helena Taylor to reprise her role, which makes it sound like it's because of conflicting schedules.
She's just so busy.
It's not exactly what it says, though. Overlapping circumstances.
That's a good one. I'm going to use that next time I want to get out of something.
Today, Taylor, who was the English Bayonetta voice actress in the first 2 games of the series, as well as Anarchy Reigns, Super Smash Bros., and Bayonetta Bloody Fate, offered a different account of why she didn't return for the threequel. In a series of social media posts, Taylor said she re-auditioned for the role and was given an offer she considered insulting. She said that insulting offer was $4,000 American, and that's so she turned that down, and then they did not come back with a better offer. She said, "I understand that boycotting this game is a personal choice, and there are those who won't, and that's fine. But if you are someone who cares about people, who cares about the world around you, who cares about who gets hurt when these with these financial decisions, then I urge you to boycott this game." Now, you definitely see some people on social media saying that they are going to boycott this game. I feel like I would like to hear a little bit more about what happened here. Maybe see if Platinum makes an official statement. Maybe Nintendo makes an official statement. Regardless, though, whether people boycott the game or not, $4,000 does seem like an insulting amount for the voice of Bayonetta, regardless of anything else, right?
No, that's insane. This is the third entry in the series. It's not the biggest selling franchise, but it sells over 1 million copies. Usually, Sham, I think. She's the main character. It's a fully voiced game. That seems bananas bonkers. And then, what's going on here? Because then she doesn't take that. So then they go to Jennifer Hale, like the most prominent woman voice actor in gaming, who I imagine wouldn't have done it for $4,000. So the whole thing just seems bizarre and bad, dumb. And yeah, I definitely want to hear that other side, like what the justification for it could possibly be. Who makes these decisions? Is it Platinum or is it Nintendo? Because Platinum, I could see because they make bad decisions and they are kind of oddly abrasive a lot of times. And Nintendo is just weird with voice acting in general, where they'll either not have it in their games. They'll sometimes be squirmish about porting games that they have a lot of voice acting. Pokemon still not going to have full voice acting. Even something like Smash Bros. Ultimate, when you get Cloud and Sephiroth in there, they're like, they don't need English voice acting. We'll just use the Japanese voice acting for that. So on both sides, I could see those factors coming in. But this is just weird, especially for a developer like Platinum that really can't be affording too many more of these bad news days, Jeff.
Yeah, it's and this really is the biggest sort of news story I've ever seen associated with Bayonetta. This video that Helena Taylor posted has 9 million views on Twitter. Or at least maybe all the videos put together, something like that. Either it's an astonishing number. And it's also more than the trailer for Bayonetta 3 has on YouTube. Those are different platforms, but still, that is a wild difference. I'm a little frustrated here where it's like, this doesn't, there's no good answer. I think that we probably would like to know more, but and also if people are going to boycott it, go for it. I just don't know exactly how I feel personally, where it's like, okay, yeah, I know a lot of people get chewed up by these machines, and I bet Nintendo doesn't pay a lot of their voice actors very well. And that's, I honestly think the answer for me here is bring it up on the show, yell about it, and say that this sucks, but still probably going to play these games. And it feels hypocritical, doesn't feel good. And I think that's the idea, obviously, that Helena Taylor at least wants to bring up, that at least question these things when you're making your purchases. But yeah, I'm probably still going to end up buying Bayonetta 3, and I don't feel great about that, but I'm still going to end up doing it. How are you feeling about that side of things?
Gosh, I don't know, Jeff. I mean, look, I'm not going to lie here and say I'm obviously not getting Bayonetta 3 now. Like, reviews come out and people call it one of the best character action games in a long time. And I'm not the biggest Bayonetta fan, but if like people are really in on it, I kind of want to check it out. If in some sense, I'll feel like it's, literally part of my job to check it out. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know if this is going to be enough for me to take some big moral stance on it. I definitely think it needs to be talked about. I definitely think we have a right to kind of get answers on this one. And not just, old man screaming at clouds on Twitter kind of answers, but like actual, okay, what was the author? Why did this get so sour? Obviously, this person wanted to be Bayonetta. Obviously, she's very upset about it because she just like, kind of not the nuclear option, but she definitely went on the attack here in a big way that she knew was going to get a lot, and it did. It's working very hard, and she's even said, I think, that she's maybe breaking some NDAs or something by doing this. So it's something she's kind of willing to put herself on the line for, to speak out about it. I mean, somebody put in the math of it, like how many copies would it be to make $4,000? It's not many, right?
No.
Like, how is there not some room in the budget for that? It's again, it's bananas bonkers.
Now, there's been some other talk about Nintendo in general not paying very well for voice actors. Someone who worked on both Freedom Planet and Breath of the Wild said they got more money from Freedom Planet because that game paid residuals, and Nintendo doesn't pay residuals. So as games continue to sell, you get like 0.1% of the proceeds or the profits or whatever. That can add up to be quite a bit of money for just about any game, especially something like Breath of the Wild, though. Nintendo doesn't offer that. They just give a flat rate, and if you don't take it, you don't take it. And so something like Freedom Planet continuing to sell as it gets ported to other platforms or whatever, that ended up paying better. And it's like, oh man, it'd be nice if the existing unions that are representing many of these actors that we're talking about. I believe Helena Taylor and Jennifer Hale are both Screen Actors Guild union members, and the Screen Actors Guild does have ongoing deals with a lot of video game companies. If they could, solidify and confirm, like for every developer or every voice actor, that residuals are just part of the standard deal. Now, it's currently not. There is like a base pay rate that is around $4,000. I think it's a little bit less than that, but $4,000 is still around that range. Still, though, it really does actually. I mean, insulting's the right word for it. I just, you could like Bayonetta 3. Bayonetta is a famous character and someone that has a lot of personality. And
it's fucking Smash Brothers.
Yes, in Smash Brothers, and it's wild to me that someone could be the voice of that character and just get paid basically pennies. It's wild.
I wonder what Jennifer Hale thinks about all this, because everyone just loves Jennifer Hale, and here she is kind of in her first controversy, it feels like. Seems like she kind of accidentally stepped into it here.
Yeah, Steel Knight says in the chat says being SAG doesn't guarantee a lot of money. And that's obviously the case because both these actors are SAG members. And Jennifer Hale getting kind of in the crossfire here a little bit, as you pointed out. Helena Taylor, and I think the last of her series of 4 videos on Twitter said that Jennifer Hale stole the role from her, and that's kind of where some people actually turned a little bit against what Helena Taylor was saying. So they're like, no, she just took a job that was offered to her. It's not how it works. If you don't take the job, someone else can take it. But yeah, it's. I
mean, she's taking it personally, and emotions are running wild.
Of course, that happens. Like, of course that happens. It's something that obviously was important to her, and she just thought she wanted to get paid fairly, and who can't respect that?
If I had one famous role, Jeff, I had one role that was like somewhat mainstream, and then they lowballed me for like the third one, and then afterwards instead they hired not you, whoever the most famous version of me would be. I would probably take it pretty poorly too. I'd be pretty pissed. It'd be hard. It would be hard not to resent that person who, again, everybody just, not saying that Jeffrey doesn't deserve it, but who just generally gets nothing but love, 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 praise, praise, praise.
Chad says the more famous versions of you are AJ, Kevin James, Imran Khan, and then a bunch of Chris Pratts. All right.
Okay. All right. Great. Let's go with Chris Pratt. Why not? He's Italian, right? He must be. He's
absolutely.
a Mario. It's okay. Yeah.
Mamma mia. Hideki Kamiya's Twitter account restricted amidst Bayonetta 3 voiceover controversy. This comes from Jordan Midler, FEGC. Kamiya's last tweet before being restricted read, "I warned you," and then ellipses.
Oh, that's the words of an innocent person.
It's not clear what this is in reference to, although it came after a series of tweets referring to claims by original Bayonetta actor Helena Taylor that she was offered just $4,000 to return for Bayonetta 3. While having one's accounts restricted isn't a full deletion, it does stop a user from tweeting. It does seem like this is probably due to him banning or blocking just thousands of accounts. Because if you do that too much, Twitter assumes that you are being attacked by some other outside thing that's like just trying to ruin your account or something like that. So He just blocked so many people because
Right?
it's
Probably
Kamiya.
just everybody. That's all he does. Yeah.
Yeah, it's all he does. And then so yeah, Twitter's like, oh yeah, we're gonna restrict your account because something's wrong here. This is a kind of almost predictable fallout from this. Kamiya getting on Twitter and then overreacting and
yeah. And by the way, I think that's I think his account is back as people are pointing out. So it happened for just a little bit.
Right.
Restriction.
Exactly. And again, so yeah, it was never going to be like a permanent deletion. But, alongside this, a now deleted tweet from a former Platinum producer read, I'm so incredibly disappointed. The Bayonetta team did not deserve what happened to them today. I don't believe that this is the full story at all. And I hate that all the internet knows how to do is retweet. I love Helena. I love the team. But what happened today is shameful. What else can you, what else can we say? Like, yeah, it's shameful that, like, I don't know if it's maybe shameful. Maybe this person's speaking to the scale of the response without having the full story, but also, if you offered her more than $4,000, just say it. Like,
what's the Platinum position here going to be? But she played hardball with us because she thought that we would have to get her because she's the voice of Bayonetta. It's like, yeah, right. She is the voice of Bayonetta. You do have to kind of like play her game a little bit if you want to get her. And it sounds like at 4,000, like maybe she asked for something more, and then they did the weird like super counter move with like, whoa, well now we're gonna really low ball you because we're mad. I don't know. Again, we don't have Platinum side of this. Well, give us Platinum side of this.
Right.
And like, what's blocking that? Is Nintendo blocking that? I don't know, but that's not our problem.
Yep, exactly. So, until we have the full story, like this, what do you expect people to think? They're gonna have some sympathy for the actress that portrayed one of their favorite characters. G4 TV is being shut down only a year after its relaunch. This comes from Luke Plunkett at Kotaku. I wrote G4 TV here. A month after suffering a number of key layoffs and departures, the ill-fated attempt to reboot the 2000s gaming channel G4 TV is over, with its owners announcing that they'll be shutting the network down. As Deadline reports, an email was sent to remaining staff today, that being Sunday, by David Scott, the CEO of parent company Spectator, a division of Comcast. In this memo, Scott explained that the company's investments and efforts to revive the network just didn't gain traction. Deadline also says a few dozen employees and contract workers are affected by the shutdown. That was all that was left at the network after a round of major layoffs took place last month. G4 never seemed like it was going to work after we found out just how big it was. At least that's my take on it. I thought G4 TV was doing good. It had, every time I would go on Twitch, it would have anywhere from 1,500 to 5,000 people watching. I'm like, those are good numbers for probably a pretty small team. And then you find out they had 200 people there. And it was like, oh, okay. So all the people that I was looking at going to G4 were probably the right people to like go and make a G4 work. But then they were operating under this cable vision structure that was like, hey, we're still a TV channel and we got to be big and we spend a ton of money because TV advertising is forever and commercials are going to pay for all of this. And if I had known that was the case, I never would have believed in any G4 resurgence at all. And so when you put with like the arithmetic, like with those numbers, this seemed inevitable. And here we are, they're shutting the channel down. It's a real bummer because there's a lot of people there I really like. I don't know. What was your take here, Mike?
I mean, whether G4 could have ever worked again or not, my biggest takeaway is just how much of a kind of sleazy move it was to do this on a Sunday.
Absolutely.
A lot of people didn't even seem to know about it until this was getting published in stories and getting tweeted on Twitter. So that's pretty disgraceful. This is just compounding what we're seeing a lot of rough times in gaming media for people, Jeff. Makes me sweat a little. Makes I feel bad for people. It's like, man, what? Not even for like any imminent stuff, but it's like, man, what is this all gonna look like in even 10 years? It's so hard to imagine because just even 5 years ago, it's different. 5 years before that, so different. It's kind of scary.
G4 TV shuts down just a year after relaunch, said Wario 64 16 hours ago. So that was Sunday. And then Gerard, the completionist who worked there, said, hey, this is a tweet. This tweet is how I found out how I lost my job. How neat. So just real rough that they were not reaching out to people directly. Apparently, some people were showing up to work that day on Sunday and were just getting directly put to HR to have their exit interviews or whatever. But the people who weren't they found out through a tweet. This is real slimy stuff.
And Gerard rules. I got to finally meet him because I met him actually at some Microsoft Mixer during the Summer Game Fest. But then me and you got to compete against him at the arcade pit, and it was just a super good, fun time. He's a great dude, and this is just really lame.
I've always wondered like what if cable channels make a lot of sense anymore. There's so many cable channels, and I think that they are operating under momentum of, we get viewers and our viewers are worth this much. But if you compare them to what like online media might get, it's probably pretty equivalent. But the online rate, the CPMs for online, way, way, way lower. And so it's like, I think G4 was just relying on that. And then even that number of eyes just never really peaked high enough for them. Nathan Grayson at the Washington Post was doing some reporting about this, and again confirmed that a lot of employees just got surprised on Sunday. They just had their Slack and Google Drive stuff pulled from them without explanation, and then they found out. He also said that the channel was unsustainable because some creators were getting day rates of $25,000 to $30,000. Now,
and that's so many Bayonetta 3 voicings.
Right, exactly. Now, hey, get paid. This is nothing against you. Have a good agent that got you that money. Get that money. Absolutely. That is nuts to me. That number makes 0 sense for what that. I mean, you already have 200 people. That's, if it's 100, let's say it's $100,000 average for each one of those, or just to make the math easy. What is that? That's $20 million or something they have to clear. That's really unsustainable on its own. But like, if you're paying. I don't know who this was, but if you're paying some famous person to come in regularly at $25,000-$30,000 a day, that's more than some people make in a year. It was just never going to work. This is just such a shame. And again, it just speaks to the people that put this thing together just had no idea the landscape that they were walking into, thought they could do things the old way, and it was in that environment. Of course, it was never going to work out. I didn't watch much of the new G4. I used to watch the old one, but the new one just never really clicked with me. So, I've also been busy, but it just seemed like something that could have worked based on how many viewers they were getting, just not when the costs were this much on the other side of things.
I mean, it's hard because you're competing with so many things. I mean, kind of funny just debuted their like new studio, and it looks as professional as anything on TV. And it's like, you're competing with that. You're competing with two assholes just talking into their webcams like us. You're like a million other people. It's nuts out there, man. And it's hard to see how just throwing a lot of money at it like that gives you any kind of real advantage.
Yep, absolutely. And yeah, as Jan said in the chat, that's TV money, baby. And yeah, that's what it feels like. It just feels like, again, decisions made in a different world that no longer apply and caused the whole thing to crumble in less than a year because the people couldn't foresee the landscape that they were fighting in.
Yeah, there's a time where like certain things just keep getting money and spending money because it's just the way it is. And TV kind of feels like now, and in about 10 years, one's going to realize, wait, there actually isn't money coming in to support all of this, and it's just going to crash.
Yeah, advertisers are going to realize the eyeballs on here are not worth what we're paying for it. What the hell? And that's going to be, yes, a crash. Gotham Knights confirmed to be locked to 4K 30 frames per second on console. 4-player co-op mode is going to come later. A representative for WB Games Montreal confirmed on the official Gotham Knights Discord that the game is locked to 4K 30 frames per second, on Xbox Series X and S and PlayStation 5 with no performance mode offered. They say this is largely due to the game's large open world and co-op features, and offering 60 frames per second would not be a simple matter of lowering resolution / visual features. Okay. How does it not have a performance mode, Mike? I really don't care what their excuse is.
Jeff, Vicky, video games is so hard. Yeah. I have no idea how it happens. It's always a miracle when a game gets made. This is bullshit. We cannot.
Right. I always feel like hypocritical because we always like, hey, making games is so hard. This is the one where I'm going to be a little bit like, no, yeah, bullshit. I don't.
It's not okay.
This is not. Yeah, it's just not acceptable that this is the game that can't make 60 frames per second happen on these new gen consoles.
These consoles are very new still. They're very expensive, as according to everybody who seems to know about these things. We have not really tapped their potential yet. We cannot be getting AAA games that run at only 30 frames per second. Like that was in my head. That was almost the whole point of getting a new generation. Is okay. Every game is going to have at least a 60 FPS mode. I don't want to ever have to settle for 30 frames per second again. And that seemed like a reasonable. So heck, I once thought, whoa, I assume everything's going to be 4K 60 FPS. Okay, I guess not.
Sure.
That's fine. I'll settle. I'm not settling lower than that. We have to have at least a 60 FPS mode on pretty much every game now.
Yeah, and it's at the very least, give us like FSR 2.0 that can, fake it and make it look like 4K, but still running at 60 frames per second. There are ways to do this. And there are ways to do this when it's co-op. We've seen a lot of games be able to figure this out. Bigger games than this, obviously, in a lot of cases, but even smaller games. I'm not saying that I fully understand the technical issues. I do believe that there are probably some reasons why this can't happen for this game. My guess, though, is they are more to do with timeline and budget, and less to do with some fundamental way that this game is just so much different than every other game on the market, and therefore it has to be 30 frames per second.
I mean, do you really think there's never going to be a patch that
I don't believe that.
60? Exactly. In which case, it's like, okay, well, I'm glad there's a patch, but it means you were lying earlier.
And also, I'm going to play it 60 frames per second on my PC, and there are going to be people who play it at 30 frames per second on their PC, and we're still going to be able to play together. Like, they're not going to stop us. They're not going to have a hopper online for PC for people who just play 30 and then just play 60. They are not going to do that. So I just don't understand. Explain it more. Explain it better.
Yes.
So I can understand what is happening
please.
Here.
Right.
I maybe, okay. I like a high frame rate. I'm not actually enraged by this. I'm just sort of flabbergasted, and that's what this tone in my voice is. I'm flabbergasted by this. Gotham Knights, I never would have predicted would be the game that did this. It feels a little bit like I don't know how they you were asking about this on your Twitch channel. I don't know how they feel like they're going to get away with this. Now, of course they will. People want to play their games, and a lot of people don't notice this stuff. Sure. But I do, and I'm gonna criticize them. I'm gonna a lot of people paid a lot of money for these new systems. The idea that you're going to hold them back, just not even offer a performance mode, I just don't get it. Now, there was a lot of trying to figure out what was happening here, and a lot of people saying that they didn't necessarily sympathize with the developers when they try to explain that it's going to only be 4K 30. And that led a person who's a developer who doesn't work on this game, has never worked on this game, and has admitted that they don't know what the problem is with this game not being able to hit 60 frames per second. They said it was because of the Xbox Series S. I just also don't buy this at all. This just seems like, okay, again, you are able to make games for all kinds of different PCs. And I understand, sure, maybe you have a minimum spec that is higher than the Xbox Series S. I don't actually think that's the case, but even if you do, still, you are able to add options for people that have more powerful hardware on PC. Why is that not on console?
Would that really impact the PlayStation 5 version? Would they have to have was there a parity clause or something?
You know what they say is like, oh, well, you still have to optimize for the least powerful thing. So, and maybe is there cross-platform multiplayer? Maybe that's their excuse. But even still, I just don't buy any of that. And again, this is from someone who is not working on this game and has never worked on this game and doesn't understand what the problems are with this game, according to them. So it just feels like it was just such a perfect targeted laser beam of, hey, if you want to distract people from Gotham Knights not running at 60 frames per second, you know what you could do is throw out fodder for the fanboy war and say that the reason all your games suck is because of the Xbox Series S. It was like, and then that's all anyone talked about for the rest of the weekend.
Series scapegoat. That's what the S is for.
Exactly. And it's like, oh, homie, I don't think that's what's actually happening here. But not to say that developers aren't going to struggle with the Xbox Series S in some games trying to optimize stuff. Sure, I believe that. I just don't believe that's the reason we can't have options. Options seem like they would still be able to exist.
I'm not much of a graphics snob, Jeff. You know that, but the frame rate that's something, especially for an action game, a character action game. If I'm playing on my Switch, it's one thing. Like I'll make some concessions. I get it. I'm playing on my Switch. If I'm playing on my Steam Deck, 40 will be fine. I'm playing on my big TV on a console I just spent $500 for. That thing has got to be running at 60 frames per second.
Yep. I mean, I'm probably going to run it at 40 frames per second on my Steam Deck.
Yeah, you probably will. People probably will figure out a way to do that.
I'll probably figure it out. And
you know, it's not like this game is getting like. It's not like people are frothing at the mouth for this one, Jeff. There's people with reservations, and it may not. I bet the game will maybe still do fine, but it's not going to take much for people to be like, just never mind.
Yep. You know, it's I haven't received a review code or anything like that. Just early rumblings are, hey, maybe it's better than you think, stuff like that. But it's okay. It seems like it's an uphill climb right now. And I glanced over at my Twitter, and 60 frames per second is trending. So there you go.
Yep.
All right, let's move along. Nvidia is unlaunching the 12 gigabyte 4080. Just real quick from a blog post from Nvidia, the RTX 4080 12 gigabyte is a fantastic graphics card, but it's not named right. Having two GPUs with the 4080 designation is confusing. So we're pressing the unlaunch button on the 4080 12 gigabyte. The RTX 4080 16 gigabyte is amazing and on track to delight gamers everywhere on November 16th.
I'm glad they told us it's amazing. Thank you.
It is amazing, and the 12 gigabyte is fantastic. So fantastic, amazing, your choice. This is a weird one because they say the 4080 12 gigabyte. The thing with this one is it is not just 4 gigabytes less or whatever of memory. It is a different there's a different system on a chip in there, a different processor in there. It's not just a cut down of, or not even just a cut down 4080 16 gigabyte. It's like a whole other run of processors. So it's like, and you know, so it's not going to be the exact same experience no matter what. It just always seemed like a renamed 4070. So they're going to have a separate 4070 that won't be this. And I imagine in a few months to a year or something, we might get this as the 4070 Ti or the Super 4070 or something like
4075.
that. The 40, I would like that one, the 4075.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty good.
The 4074, 4076, just to really fuck with us.
Yes, exactly. Really, oh my God.
Let's pretend these numbers mean something.
Exactly.
Right?
Like, how'd you figure that? Well, it's we have a chalkboard. We did the math. It's 4076.
We got Scott Steiner in here to do the math for us.
Exactly. Thank you, Scott Steiner math. Yeah, okay, fair enough. The 4090 is a really, really good card, even though it's really expensive. People really like that thing. It's got a lot of cool features, the DLSS 3.0 and AV1 encoding, which I'm like, man, that'd be pretty cool to have for work. So I'm looking at the 40 series cards, but 4080 16 gigabyte always seemed like a better idea than the 12 gigabyte all along. Now we'll just have to see if they reduce the price enough when they do come along with whatever this 4080 12 gigabyte turns into to make it feel like it's not just a name change and they fully are repositioning the strategy behind it. We'll see.
If we said Scott Steiner and it summoned Dan Reichert to our side immediately, I'm glad he appeared in chat instantaneously after
there he
that
is.
happened.
There he is.
Good.
Splinter Cell Remake's director has left Ubisoft. This comes from Jordan Midler at VGC. David Grivell, the director of the upcoming Splinter Cell Remake, has left Ubisoft after 11 years, he has announced. In a post on LinkedIn, he said that it was time for him to go on to a new adventure. Grivell worked on Ghost Recon Future Soldier at Ubisoft Paris before moving to Ubisoft Toronto to work on Blacklist, Assassin's Creed Unity, Far Cry 4, 5, and 6, and most recently, the upcoming Splinter Cell Remake. This is a game that we've heard a little bit about, haven't seen anything of. Ubisoft did confirm that it's working on this game, a remake. We've seen some tidbits about how they're looking for a scriptwriter to update the script for Splinter Cell for a more modern audience, whatever that means. And so, I wonder, do you think that this is enough of an issue that delays or disrupts or derails the development of this game, or is this something that they kind of just roll with the punches?
You know, if it's Ubisoft, I would say for sure it's not that big of a deal. If it wasn't Ubisoft, we've seen a lot of these happening in recent years. Directors leaving games, even like games that seem like they're pretty early on, still like people just find different opportunities, something that might seem slightly more enticing to them for whatever reason. This stuff happens. Ubisoft, though, has been having a weird track record lately, Jeff, with delays, things just kind of getting maybe quietly canceled or put into this weird limbo state, like Beyond Good and Evil 2 and like the Prince of Persia remake. So this one, I'm just not sure.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Where I typically would just say, hey, they can roll with the punches, but Splinter Cell is such a precarious franchise at Ubisoft, where if enough talent leaves and you got to start hiring up to replace the key people making the decisions there, maybe it's easier just to say we won't do it. Some games are too big to fail at Ubisoft, or too big to not launch, I guess I should say. Splinter Cell does not feel like one of those. Splinter Cell feels like one that could be in development for 3 years, and then they say, well, it's not working. Let's move on to something else. I'm not necessarily thinking that that's what's going to happen here. I'm just, a few other things go wrong with development. Maybe that makes them lean towards pulling the plug on it. They are making this game in the Snowdrop engine. It's this one that they are still heavily invested in, and so maybe part of that is, hey, we can keep people or get people up to speed on using this by working on the Splinter Cell games, and then they can come back and work on future Snowdrop games. But they have a lot of Snowdrop games in development. The Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora game, the Star Wars game from Massive is also in Snowdrop. So it's like, there's a lot of ways for people to get that experience here at Ubisoft. We'll have to see if that affects Splinter Cell or not. All right, Overwatch 2 hits 25 million player milestone in 10 days. This comes from Chris Moyes at Destructoid. It appears that right off the bat, Blizzard Entertainment's decision to go free-to-play with its hero shooter sequel, Overwatch 2, has had the desired effect. The studio has announced that the charismatic multiplayer title has already rocketed past 25 million players in its first 10 days of release. That number far supersedes that of the original 2016 premium title, which hit around 15 million players during its early launch months. Blizzard has also noted that daily player counts are already tripling those of the original Overwatch, though what percentage of these players are Reaper mains has yet to be discovered. Good stuff from Chris there. This number sounds about right for where they should be with Overwatch 2, right? It's not completely astronomical, but it's a big number.
Yeah, I mean, look, a lot of people played Overwatch 1 during the course of its runtime. Here's the sequel. It's free to play. Why not, spin it up for a bit? Just all you got to do is download it. That's the whole reason you go to free to play, is because the barrier of entry is gone. You can get a lot of players in there. So, yeah, I never thought that like Overwatch 2 was going to be doomed from the get-go. Now, granted, this is 25 million people now who then had to sort of suffer through all of those plentiful launch issues that Overwatch 2 had, right? So that the real question here is going to be, can it sustain this, or is it going to have this sort of Halo Infinite-esque severe drop-off after all these players rushing in?
I did see the first backlash to the backlash for Halo Infinite today, by the way. The Reset Era thread. Halo Infinite is really fun, even the multiplayer. So I wonder if it's due to come back here any minute. But
Circle of Life.
Circle of Life. Let's do an Overwatch 2 check, Mike. Are you still playing it? How are you feeling about it?
Yeah.
Are the issues clearing up? What's the status?
I mean, maybe they're clearing up. It seems like they clear up, then a new one shows up. My friend list disappeared for a bit, and then then that got fixed.
Didn't your brother's friend list get delayed, or was that a user error?
That was user error. I didn't at the time. I knew it was, and I didn't want to say it because he was frustrated about it.
Sorry,
but yeah,
AJ.
He tried to set up an account for his daughter and try to put parental controls on it, and accidentally put parental controls on his own account. So that's what happened there. Yes, that's a classic AJ move.
Yeah, oh man, yeah, I only laugh because I would do the same thing, AJ.
Yep. But look, whenever I'm playing Overwatch 2, I'm having a lot of fun with it. I think that a lot of the gameplay changes have been good. I'm glad that there are fewer shields and less stuns and things like that. I think even the move to one tank is working out for the most part. Maybe I need a bit more time with that, but I'm still enjoying that. All the new characters have been hitting with me. So, and look, I liked Overwatch 1 a lot. I played that a good bit. I really only fell off it towards the end there when there was just no new content coming up for it because they're making Overwatch 2. And here's the content, at least. So, there's a lot of negativity around it. I think some of that is getting overblown because, one, it's free to play. So, of course, people are going to resent going from premium to free to play. And I get that. And there are all these obnoxious launch issues. And it's Blizzard in 2022. Not exactly the most likable game developer in the world.
What's the people are complaining about the battle pass? Is that an issue for you?
I mean, I liked the loot boxes. That was better for me.
Yeah, that worked well for you. Yeah.
Because I played a lot, so I'd get a lot of free loot boxes, and I would just buy through that, get whatever I needed cosmetic wise. So here, the battle pass, it does feel pretty slow. The cosmetics don't feel all that exciting. Even when you get a skin, it is weird because there is a feeling of, well, everyone else got this skin too. There's something not special about it for some reason. And then the store is expensive, but those are pretty common complaints with a lot of free to play games, Jeff. I don't like the battle passes for a lot of them. I didn't think Halo Infinite was all that exciting. The only game that really seems to have battle pass figured out that I have played is Fortnite. They kind of seem to have done some work there, figuring out how to make that feel good for people, because you get a lot of the premium currency. You almost get your money back from it, which you can then use in the store, and you kind of can choose which things you want there. And they always make sure you have something really cool at the end that you're working for. Whereas here, like the final skin, it's like a mythic skin, which just means you can customize some parts of it. And I looked at it like, oh, that doesn't really do much for me. So I'm not like super excited to finish out the battle pass.
Fair enough. I have not gone back to play Overwatch 2. We'll probably play some on the website this week if we can get everyone together. But I don't know. It's just maybe it's kind of a bummer. And I'm like, it's just as easy not to play it as it is to play it. It doesn't feel necessary. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, would Backlar say doesn't feel very important?
Yes, on the Backlar scale, maybe right now it's going to be a little unimportant.
Dan, I'll carry you in Overwatch 2, man. I'll carry you to the ends of the Overwatch world. You do. Let's go.
New Razer Edge Android gaming console, the latest to go all in on cloud gaming. This comes from Michael L. Hicks at Android Central. The Razer Edge 5G is a handheld gaming console powered by a Snapdragon G3X Gen 1 gaming platform, 8 gigabytes of memory, and the Verizon 5G network. We talked about this a little bit previously, where this thing was teased, and then it was teased based on a development-only platform that released a little while ago. So if this stuff sounds familiar, it's because we are now confirming that this is the product version that is actually going to ship. It has a 6.8-inch 24 by 1080 screen that has a 144 hertz refresh rate, and it's AMOLED, so it's an OLED screen. It's a touch screen with a 288 hertz touch sampling, and uses an exclusive Razer Kishi V2 Pro controller. So essentially, it is a 6.8-inch high refresh rate tablet that then you just put the Kishi controller around like a Switch controller or whatever, and then it supports stuff like the Epic Game Store, Xbox Cloud Gaming, Nvidia GeForce Now, Steam Link, and Xbox Remote Play, and it is $400, which seems pretty okay for what this is, but still rough as soon as you make that comparison to the Steam Deck, right?
Yeah, I mean, I got the one thing it probably does better than Steam Deck is that screen, right? Because it is an OLED, so that's
OLED and high refresh rate too.
Yeah, so that's something. The higher, the refresh rate, I don't know. At a certain point, I don't know if I really need higher than 60 hertz refresh rate on my portable screen.
Fair.
But that's, again, I complained about frame rate. That beyond 60, I don't get much from it, but I do need at least 60.
That's fair and true. I think most people, you get some improvement if you're a esports gamer, but beyond that, yeah.
So I don't know. How does this compare to that Logitech one, Jeff?
Way, way, way better. It is way more powerful, significantly more powerful. I mean, the screen is bigger. It's
this is why people were saying kind
OLED.
Of quietly, like, "Hey, maybe don't get that Logitech."
Yes, I think so. And that Logitech, the reviews came out and like, yeah, I guess it kind of works, but you could probably skip it or whatever. Yeah, that one, even for emulating games locally on that device, was never going to be great. This should be fantastic at emulating a lot of stuff, and then you can stream games. And it's got a big screen, and it's going to be that OLED, like you said, is pretty cool. So you do get some advantages even over a Steam Deck. But all that said, I would still, Steam Deck, man.
Well, because this is all cloud stuff, really, right? And
you should be able to do a lot of emulated stuff locally. You'll be able to get stuff off the Google Play Store, so Call of Duty Mobile. But yeah, like those games are those games. You're not going to be playing the latest PC releases natively on this thing. You're going to
no Elden Ring on this thing.
Yeah, I don't think Elden Ring is through Nvidia GeForce now. At least if it is, maybe it is. But either way,
No
it's like
native Elden Ring.
no
Then.
native Elden Ring on this thing. Correct.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
I'll probably get one though. My big issue.
Of course you will.
Yeah,
You're
I'm
just a
sicko.
slut for these things.
Yes, absolutely. That I don't need actually a separate data plan for my portable gaming device. I know people were like, "Oh, it's got 5G." I'm like, fuck that. I don't. Just give me Wi-Fi. I'll connect it. I'll tether it to my phone. I'm already paying for data. Why would I pay again when I could just connect it over Wi-Fi to my phone? It's silly. So I guess I could just the Razer Edge Wi-Fi is available, and that is the $400 one. So obviously that'll be the one I get. Nintendo has taken Switch Sports offline due to an update bug. This comes from Tom Ivan at VGC. Nintendo has temporarily disabled online play and save data backups for Nintendo Switch Sports. The platform holder said it has taken the game servers offline while it investigates a solution to a recently discovered bug. The bug in question, which causes the game to close during pre-match loading screens, was discovered following the launch of a new game update, the rollout of which has now been suspended. So, kind of a bummer. I don't know anyone personally who's still playing Nintendo Switch Sports online, but the idea occasionally occurs to me where I'm like, hey, it would be fun to get back on there, and there's some cool stuff on there. But hey, if that is you and you can't get online, here is why. I don't know if they gave an update on the timeline for when to expect a fix, but I would imagine pretty soon. This game does sell a lot for them. It continues to be, one of their top sellers in Japan. And I bet, like, worldwide, it's doing pretty good still. So they probably don't want to have an issue with it going on for too long. Has this really messed up your plans for playing Nintendo Switch Sports online, Mike?
Yeah, I just had a horrible weekend because of this. Yeah,
I'd imagine.
I had to play more Mario Strikers instead. No, I think I do have a copy of this game that I have not touched yet. So
oh, really?
Shame on me.
It's fun.
I think I actually have a physical copy of it, which is strange these days, but I think that is a thing that I own.
That does it for the news. Let's get to the polls. Let me bring this up. Ahigao to the polls.
I was going to make that.
Yeah, there you go. Do you find any utility in game reviews? 64.7% said yes. 22.8% said no. 12.5% said take reviewers' rights. So there you go. So, 2/3 of people say they get some use out of game reviews. A whole bunch of people replied to say they don't know why I use the word utility, and it made me realize that when Jason Wilson would yell at me for using utility instead of like usefulness or whatever, or I'm like, oh, he was right. Okay, most people just don't get that word could be used that way.
I have to admit, Jeff, I didn't answer this because I didn't know what you meant by utility.
Yeah, you get a usefulness. It's
do you get any use out of game reviews? Is what you want to say if you were.
It's what I did say, essentially. But
you find any utility?
Yeah,
it sounds like I have to pay a bill.
Yeah, that's what a lot of people said, and I'm like, okay, all right, fair enough. My bad. Editors were right. I messed up. It's a perfectly cromulent word.
Jeff, you should let this ruin your week, is what I think.
Yeah, you know what? That's a good choice. I think my brain is already well ahead of you on that.
All right, good.
Yeah. Okay, I have a new poll. What is your expectation level for the Silent Hill event? And I was going to do it out of 4 stars. So we'll just have...
Oh.
Okay, so what is your expectation
level? You should do out of
level
hills.
for the
1
Silent
hill,
event?
2 hill. Nah, people won't get that.
Out of 4. And then let's do... I'll do this.
You might have to specify if people are going to ask you, well, which 1 the most, which 4 is the most? Like, which one means the best?
All right. Yes.
I'm just saying.
You're right.
Just here to help you.
Or you're right. Thank you. Thank you for editing
4
me.
being the most.
The most. For being the most excited. Or
yes.
for being the highest possible expectations.
I think most excited worked, but that's fine too.
This is exactly what I want to say now. Now we've lawyered ourselves.
There we go.
Maybe use emoji? Should we
ask people how much utility they think they're gonna get.
All right, you know what? Let's go to Google. In the meantime, Mike, what's going on with you? You got anything you want to talk about? Anything you're working on?
Man, I don't know. I probably need to be doing some writing this week. I do so much more editing these days, Jeff. But review season is coming upon us now, so just trying to get my mind wrapped around that. Me and you will have Last of the Nintendogs. tomorrow. And then we have Game S Decides on Thursday, so that'll be fun. But everyone should check out my 90s Disney podcast, 90s Disney at 90sdisney.com, and learn about Epcot and Mickey Mouse, Dan's favorite, all sorts of fun stuff.
You guys been really killing it with 90s Disney recently. I've been really into everything you guys are doing. All right, let's. Oh.
I'm glad you've been finding utility from it.
I've been finding utility in the 90s Disney podcast. You're not even using it right. Clearly, I need to not use that word that way anymore.
No, that's great. That's exactly how I got it.
Game mess.
Dan was just about to watch a Disney podcast. Dan, it bugged me so much when you asked me what my favorite movie was or something, and then I told you The Rocketeer, and you're like, that's not even a Disney movie. Dan, it's so important to me that you know that, yes, it is a Disney movie. Not that my favorite movie has to be a Disney movie, but in this case, it is, in fact, a Disney movie.
All right, let's come back here. All right.
I had to show Dan my Mickey Mouse costume, like to see who wore it better.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been... I would like to see it. Is it one of those inflatable ones? Does it have the?
I actually just I sent it to you on Discord. You can check it out. You can show the people if you want. I don't know if that's gonna be a big pain in the butt for you.
It'll be a pain in the butt because I don't want to like accidentally show anything else on Discord. So yeah, we'll show that next time you're on.
Don't tell me you guys are getting bought again already.
Hey, man, we got to keep that secret. Disney's buying us this time.
Disney doesn't make live action. Oh man.
All right, we gotta end this show before he does that. Okay, so what's up on Giant Bomb this week? Let's see here. We're going to be doing some quick looks. We are going to be doing a bunch of our.
They started doing that in like the 40s, Dan. When did they start that?
Yeah, Dan, have you seen any of the High School Musicals? And he says absolutely not. Well,
that I believe.
That's his own failing, clearly. What was the first live action?
The
Disney?
first one was actually, I believe, Treasure Island, and then very shortly after that was 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
Which one of those is the most racist?
Probably, almost certainly, Treasure Island. Although it's been a while.
I'm trying to see if we can kill time until the top of the hour, so you can say what you like about.
Treasure Island is a hotel, says Dan. I mean, yes, that is true, but you know. It was also a book and then a movie.
We'll have Arcade Pit on Wednesday. We'll have Voice of a Dump Truck on Thursday. We'll have UPF on Friday. Bombcast tomorrow. Be sure you tune in for that. I'm looking forward to it. You get Jan and me, and we'll see how else we can fill out that. Actually, in our meeting here in a couple of minutes. All right, we're gonna wrap this up. If you want to find out what Mike thinks about what's it called, Sparks of Hope. Mario.
If I say anything now, I'm gonna go to. I actually was able to play this one early because
Ubisoft,
it's Ubisoft. It's not Nintendo, so Ubisoft doesn't have to follow Nintendo's jail rules. So I was good there, but yeah, a couple minutes. I didn't beat it though, so I don't have a review going up.
Well, you can find out what he thinks probably on Twitter or something. I don't know if you're going to tweet about it. Whatever. You could just follow Tokoto. All right, everybody. Thank you for watching. Mikey, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Jeff.
Thanks, everybody, for watching. You're the best audience in gaming. Until next time, have a good one. Take care of yourself, and goodbye.
Bye.